Very warm welcome from the break. You're still watching This Week, and I'm Sam Nasambo. Now, the tussle for the Senate presidency of the 10th Assembly may not have been settled quite yet, as senators-elect and political groups from the Northwest have continued to insist that their region must produce the Senate president in the next dispensation, despite APC's zoning of the position to the South-South. In the week, one of such groups, Arewa Youths of Nigeria, stormed the Unity Fountain in Abuja, calling on the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reject the choice of former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, and they were also canvassing for other people from the Northwest geopolitical zone, including Senator Abdulaziz Yari from Zamfara State, saying that the Northwest, having contributed so much into Tinubu's emergence, deserve the Senate presidency and not a deputy Senate president or even speaker.
All we are soliciting from the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that we are presenting our son for the position of the Senate President of the 10th of the 10th National Assembly, which is Governor Yari. And we are pleased, begging on all Nigerians to support the candidacy and see it that the stand of Governor Yari is a stand of peace, integrity, honesty, accountability, and transparency. And we will not betray the people of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, to help us understand deeper the intrigues into the battle for power, including the Northwest insisting on the Senate presidency, is Professor Sadiq Umar Gombe, who is the Deputy Director General Operations of the Northern Elders Forum. Welcome to the program.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Prof. So talk to us about why the Northwest will be seeking this presidency when we have other regions saying that, look, there needs to be a political balance in the country so that the geopolitics of it will favor every region. And we don't have the Northwest, which just enjoyed 8 years, you know, having the number 3 position again.
Well, you see, some of us as nationalists and those that have seen it, a number of times we participated in the electoral process as party leaders, as in appointment and many other things. We look beyond just some parochial interest, or rather some sentiments or emotions. But as much as the Northwest is agitating to have this number 3, I think it's not out of place. We are talking of democracy. When you are talking of democracy, it's said to be the government of the people, by the people, for the people, where majority will always have their way, why the minority will always have their say and must be heard. So what we are saying, when you are talking of democracy, I think particularly going to the APC, though I'm not really a member of the APC, but when you are talking about the APC, if you see the contribution of not just the Northwest, the North as a whole, thinking, yes, if not for the stand that the governors of the North took, that led to the emergence of Asuaji Bola and Tinubu, whereas even the party itself and the presidency then, when he aspired as an aspirant to be a candidate of his party, the opposition he made from different angles, and now the governors of the Northwest led their other colleagues from other part of the North to pave way for his emergence, despite the fact that then if they so wishes, the fact that the president finishes from the zone, if they so wishes in a democracy, the North under APC will have present another candidate. And there's nothing that will stop that candidate, because we are talking of demographic capital, and
in terms of numbers
and all of that. And the primaries is solely about delegates, and the number of delegates from that part of the country are higher than any other part. Mind you, also from the Southwest, even from the Southwest, the president-elect made a lot of stiff opposition, because that was where the vice president of the Federal Republic, who is from the same state with him, contested. The chairman governors forum, Fayemi, contested. Tunde Bakari contested. When we are even expecting, where he's supposed to have, you know, unity of purpose, whereby they will support him wholeheartedly, is from his zone. But that didn't happen. So maybe that is part of what is giving them the right to feel, yes, we were responsible not just for his election, for his emergence even from the party as a candidate, were solely somehow responsible because we have the larger number of delegates, we have the right to contest, and it's a democracy. We are going to win because of delegate vote. Yet, because of unity of purpose, because of the big brotherhood, we allow that sentiment and emotions to take second fiddle. Then we now go for unity of Nigeria, so to say it must be a southern president. That is one. Two, after that, when he emerges as a candidate, there are still some skepticism, even from those from the southwest, and including even the president-elect himself, that yes, these people will be playing a game war. They are going to go for their own to jettison him in the election. But still, they remain resolute, and they stand out. And at the end of the day, the president-elect emerged with 8,794,926 votes, of which 5,590,000, which is 64%, come from the same region that supported him to emerge as a candidate.
Yeah, but the reality here is that people will say that from the power sharing formula we have, people like Abdulaziz Yari from the Northwest should not be insisting on the Senate presidency because the Southwest already has the president, and then the Northeast has the vice president. Shouldn't power shift to the other region, I mean the South, as we have here? Why is Yari insisting, and we hear that some people have been talking to him to step down, but he has refused to step down? What exactly makes him, I think that he has a better capacity than all others?
What I'm saying, in essence, democracy is give and take. Democracy, as it stands, as we said, is about the people, is about contribution in the electoral process and so on. This thing is not the first time it's happened in this country. Let me just take you back to the government that just finished. The government that President Muhammadu Buhari contested more than 3 to 4 times without making it, until when he got the support of the Southwest. Because of that support that the Southwest gave him, gave them the leverage after having the vice president. For 8 years in his administration, they equally ended up with having the speakership of the House for 8 years, one region out of 6.
Vice president
and Speaker of the House of Reps for 8 years. And also majority of the projects in this country coming from that place because they contributed. Not that Buhari had been consistently getting 12 million votes in this country, which is almost 80% of the vote that he has been consistently getting since he started contesting in Nigeria political space, with only one governor in Nasarawa. But yet, but he couldn't get the presidency because he has to get 25% on 24 states in the country, and there are only 19 states that he has been getting that 25% in these 19 states of the north. It's only that he needs 25% in at least 5 more states or 6 to make it.
24 states and FCT.
Yes. So now, the Southwest, what they contributed was that mandatory 25% in their states to make off the 25% first criteria to be satisfied for him to emerge. So if that happens, because in Nigeria a lot of things is associated with our history. If that happens,
but,
because of the contribution of
the Northwest has been given the position of Deputy Senate President and then Speakership by the APC. Why are people like Abdulaziz Yari insisting that the Northwest should take the Senate presidency, despite appeals? I mean, you are from the Northern Elders Forum. That's the talk here and there and all of that.
What I'm saying, people like us in the Northern Elders Forum is not just even about it must be particular person or it must be really particular zone. We are talking about 6 geopolitical zones in this country. The Northwest, the Northeast, the North Central, the Southwest, the Southeast, the South. So what we are saying now, if you go to that, you are now talking that you have the president, commander-in-chief coming from the Southwest. We have 3 arms of government. These 3 arms, executive, legislature, and the judiciary. When you end up contributing 65% in anything or 64%. And again, the election of this Senate president is unique, other than the way it is with the executive or even the judiciary appointment. Judiciary is by hierarchy and many other things. They have their association processes and so on. But when you are talking about the leadership of National Assembly, what some of us in the Northern Elders Forum have been thinking is about, we have these senators, former governors, former ministers, former AGFs, former generals, former this, former that, former farmers, and so on. They are people that we felt if they were allowed by themselves in their chamber under their rule to elect their own leaders by themselves consciously, leaders that they can trust, leaders that they feel they have the requisite capacity, exposure, and fair degree to lead them, leaders that they can have understanding with, that they can be able to make laws independent of any other of the arm of government. I think it's the better for Nigeria, it's better for our democracy. But the moment whereby we said it has to be unpicked in a place like a Senate of the Federal Republic or House of Reps, when you have 109 senators, all elected from different constituencies, and the constituencies is what guarantees them to be elected, not their religion. That's I always often say.
Yeah, but I mean, the problem I have, and which so many Nigerians have, is that the thinking will be that, look, okay, if the Senate president is to be left open, like you are canvassing, and for every region to actually contest, why would some groups in the north actually be kicking against maybe Akpabio or kicking against the South-South geopolitical zone? Shouldn't he be making its case very well and then asking the APC to take a deep review? But I can tell you that even the two positions given to the Northwest is already causing problem in itself. So shouldn't the Northwest know how to manage these things? And when you see leaders, I mean, from that part of the region, coming out to say one or two things after President Buhari's 8 years in power, wouldn't it look like, it's a blackmail against other regions?
It's not. There is
because they have a huge number of votes.
You see, when you are talking of democracy, that is why they make all the sacrifices to have a southern presidency. Despite the fact that they have the leverage and the wherewithal to now even have a next president if it is just solely on sentiment or emotions. But that is why we are wanted to jettison that. And again, that is why we want to always jettison the issue of people talking of so person have to be this because of religious configuration or so on and so forth, which is not part of our constitution, which our constitution didn't promote. Now, I always said it, but people look at it like somehow that now the number one Christian in the world is the fourth, and the number one Muslim, let's assume maybe the king of Saudi or even the imam of Mecca and so on. But that did not give them the eligibility to come and contest in Nigeria, because the first eligibility is you must be a Nigerian. Yeah. You must satisfy some this thing. And equally, for you to be elected a senator or whatever, you must come from one of the 109 constituencies. And there is nothing like religion in it. To the extent that some of us are even conversing or supporting the idea that yes, we have to delve away from this religious, from this region, from this, because that is what is draining us. It's Abacha that brought about this geopolitical issue. Yeah, I mean, which is not part of our constitution for good, but because we've been using it for planning over the years. But nonetheless, we have been abusing it, so and we have been using it negatively. Have one geopolitical zone or one particular region of the country holding a lot of positions, and which is what so many people are saying. And some people are even saying, going ahead to say that, look, former governors are beginning to hijack the governors of Nigeria. That Tinubu is a former governor, and then you have Shetima, who's a former governor, and now we have people like Akpabio and Yari all fighting to get the Senate presidency. These are former governors. Do you think that, don't you think that this is a challenge actually? A challenge in a sense, not a challenge in another way, because when we have former governors, if really former governors that have performed, that have the track record, that their experience and competence and capacity is there to bear on the next level of position, that they can deliver the good for democracy, what is bad about it? Even in the US, which is the most sophisticated democracy, you have things like that. You have to start, in fact, if not in Nigeria, there is nowhere in the world that you don't groom leaders. You groom leaders to start from the lower level, to understand the problem at their basis, then come off to the center state, then now come up to the higher level with the requisite expertise, experience, particularly in the 21st century where knowledge is the greatest capital. So that is what we are saying. If now you said, okay, fine, for the Senate president, it has to be from so-so place, it has to be Mustabi, that means you can go on to say NURWT, Road Safety Union, it has to be Mustadis. It has to be, you have to double into this. That's the missteps that APC took. These are the missteps. Saying that the Senate president has to be Gospel Akpabio. If they will have allowed the senators go beneath and do their homework and do whatever, it might be the senators must accept it. The moment you start to bring taking some frivolity into some things based on sentiment and emotions, people will also go back
don't you
to think about their emotions.
Don't you think that the agitations are coming from around the country because we can't afford to have a Muslim president, a Muslim vice president, and also have another Muslim, Senate president like Senator Abdulaziz Yari is trying to.
Now,
and those are the fears that people are having, that if Yari as a Nigerian and a former governor who understands how the country is, doesn't understand the mood of the nation, then it looks like something is wrong. What? Shouldn't elders from the Northern Elders Forum and all of you be, having this conversation?
The problem is, you see, elders as elders, we have to think beyond what the ordinary citizen will look through. This issue of saying religion and so, we have to disabuse it. If not, we are not going to go anywhere. Particularly in the 21st century, where knowledge is
security implication.
If you are talking about that,
Ahmad Lawan, who is also another Muslim who's outgoing as Senate president, those are the things that people are saying.
I am still hammering on this issue. If you are now talking of religion, then you say it's because of religion that another person from the north will not emerge. That means it's the same way that you are now going to go and hammer about 3 arms of government with a president, Senate president, who is the head of the legislature, and also the chief judge coming from the same region outside the north that have 64% of the vote,
so
and have this.
That if Akpabio, for example, emerges, we are going to have Tinubu being the head of the executive from the south, and then Akpabio being the head of the National Assembly from the south, and then the head of the judiciary, Chief Justice of Nigeria, coming from the south.
And even then, the constituency matter surpasses the religious matter, because you cannot aspire to contest because you are from this. You are a pagan, you want to contest Nigeria, or you don't believe in any religion. Nobody will stop you. But you can't come from the Senate, the president-elect will not come to Adamawa and contest for the presidency from Adamawa. He must contest from Lagos. Akpabio must contest from Akwa Ibom. Just like Yari must contest from Zamfara. So the constituency balance and issue is far more important than the religious consideration.
You think so?
As far as the constitution is concerned,
like
it is, but it's not part. That is why it's not part of our constitution. Right. So that is why some of us as elders, we want this thing to be shelved away. Allow this honorable gentlemen, 109 of them, to go into their chamber, let them converse within themselves, see what is the best for themselves. They will have independent. They cannot be cajoled.
And some people say that's a trap because the northern part of the country has more senators than other parts of the country.
That issue,
you and I know that.
Issue, if you are talking of religion also, the religion also will also hammer on them, because there are still Christian senators from the north. You can't run away from that. So that is why if we didn't do away with this and competently just centered ourselves in on competence. You are here on this your desk, not because you are a Christian or you are a Muslim. You are here because you have the experience, you have the capacity, and so even before you are employed, they will say you must be a secondary school leaver, or you must have a first degree, and so on. But look at the eligibility in Nigeria. That is where we started to have the problem.
Well, eligibility to a president, politics, they don't consider much of
you
that.
have to this. But we have to start to move along with the majority of the civilized world and shun away this. Look at the president of England, the prime minister of England today. He's not even in English. Is said to be in India, why, and so on and so forth. A young man, why they just felt this is our problem today. We have so person with the capacity, with the distance. That is why I'm telling you, I'm not talking particularly about. If you want to run away from religion, you also have the laboratory often. Let's scout and see from the north, is there any candidate that satisfy other things that will do away or satisfy those diversities that they are thinking of running away? You will get many of them. Well, this is where we are. David Mark emerges as speaker,
as Senate
president. Dogara emerges as speaker. Even in the north, they are minorities, but they are supported to emerge and spend 8 years. Even in Bochi Dogara,
I brought you here to actually talk about this because there are fears here and there that Governor Yari will use this overwhelming influence to actually cause a storm in the National Assembly. And if that's the case, we hear that some northern leaders and all of that are being approached by the president-elect to actually see how, people from North can give him some leverage so that he doesn't look like he's also not pandering to the the thinking of the other religious faith like Christians. Shouldn't Yari be looking for a way to actually help Tinubu out? He's in the APC and he wants APC to succeed, and now the president-elect has a very huge task. He has to balance the religious leaning of his government. Shouldn't there be a camaraderie? And we hear that some northern leaders have been approached to talk about this, to discuss
what I'm
this
saying,
with him. What will you
for
say?
the president-elect, I know is a Democrat, is somebody that have huge experience and competence to manage things even higher than this. So I think the best way, rather than allowing it, I still want to reiterate, to be like an issue that so person will be denied because of his faith or because of where he comes from. I think this is where we are missing it. There is nothing as sentimental and emotional than this kind of issues.
Well,
somebody will be just sleeping on it. But he almost become a victim. If to say it's because of this, it wouldn't have happened. But we see that where Nigerians freely elected an MQ and Kingibe, people are saying in the 21st century, in 2023, it will never happen.
But that's because if you had a president for 8 years from the Northwest who is a Muslim, naturally based on Nigerian politics,
that is natural.
The next president should be either someone from the South or someone who is a Christian, or that's how we've been playing it. And so that's why those thinking
we
has
could not
been,
be continually playing something, even if it is wrong, and even if it is not yieldy result for us. These things are not yieldy result for us, and we are continuing to say it must be from our end, it must be our tribe man, it must be our religious man, it must be our regional man, rather than thinking through in the 21st century to say, yes, where are the people that have this capacity from wherever they come up from Nigeria, let them come and lead the way, so that at least if they are doing the right thing, we can get food on the table. Fuel is relatively we are buying it at a very low price. Foodstuffs are on the table and affordable. Electricity is affordable, and this thing. Economy is booming. We have infrastructural distance. Whoever will come and bring it, even if they are all from Lagos, from the same Tinubu this thing, even if they are all Yorubas, we don't give a damn, some of us.
Well,
let it be.
So if you are putting a delegation to go and speak with Abdulaziz Yari to step down, can you do that in the interest of politics in the country?
In the interest of politics in the country, I don't think I
what
will.
What will northern leaders like you,
to be very sincere, I don't think, out of conviction, I will do that for a personal reason that, yes, I am sure the senators, the 109 senators or 108 along with him, and even any other, they are experienced enough. And these politics, you can, interact, do whatever.
All right, I can see how difficult the situation is, because you're unable to actually take a stand yourself. But it's a very dicey situation, I can tell you. But a lot of Nigerians are actually asking these politicians to know how to play this game so as not to hurt sections of the country. And I know that the North has this huge interest, and then a huge number of people, the delegation going to the National Assembly. The thinking is that there should be this dual balancing that will help move the country forward. But we must thank you immensely. Professor Sadiq Umar Gombe is the Deputy Director General of Operations of the Northern Elders Forum. We thank you so much for joining us to help us understand these issues. And that's how it's been on this edition of this week. We'd like to thank you for watching, and we ask that you stay with Arise News as we continue our coverage of the inauguration activities for the handover date on May 29th. Stay with us.